Back in August of 2022, I purchased the M1 Pro 14-inch MacBook Pro, and I'm glad that I did. This computer has really surprised me in a lot of ways, especially as someone who has used Windows laptops for most of his life. Now, I want to talk about just how it surprised me, but then we'll talk about, well, should you go out and buy one even now that the newer models are available for you? Well, there's the question. Let's dive in here and take a look. Now, one thing that's really impressed me about the MacBook Pro in general, just as someone who has come from Windows laptops over the past decade or so, is the battery life of the MacBook Pro. Now, I think we can all agree that typically, by and large, Windows laptops have struggled in the battery life department. Now, there are exceptions out there. Fortunately, there are computers out there which boast, 10, 12 hours of battery life on a single charge. At least that's the claim. Whether or not you get that in reality, that's debatable. Just for example, I bought and returned a Lenovo laptop which claimed to get 12 hours of battery life. In my experience, it really only got about 4, and that's if I disabled the built-in GPU and actually just use the integrated GPU as opposed to the NVIDIA GPU. So even doing that, it still wasn't great. The MacBook Pro, on the other hand, gets me through an evening of editing a video or just writing, content creation, browsing the web, and I don't have to worry about where my charger is. Now, I will typically leave my charger here at my desk, or I will carry one in my backpack, of course. But other than that, I don't have to worry about it too much. And I think that is a really cool thing, especially if you are someone who's mobile. You're traveling a lot. Maybe you're going to coffee shops, that sort of thing. The M1 Pro, MacBook Pro, and of course now the M2 and subsequently the M3 are very, very good in that category. So if that's what you're looking for in a laptop, the MacBook Pro is a really good option. And of course, there's the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and then there's the MacBook Air. Those will all give you very, very good battery life. So pretty cool to know. One of the strong selling points of macOS is the fact that Apple controls both the operating system and the hardware that it's sold on. Now, that might sound like a walled garden and a problem, but actually, when you look over at the Windows side, that's actually a good thing. Now, one problem with Windows is that it has to understand a wide variety of hardware. So it doesn't know when it's being installed if it's going to be installed on a HP laptop or a Lenovo laptop or a server, or it doesn't know. So it has to be ready to understand a wide variety of hardware configurations, whereas macOS is built for the computers that Apple sells, which is great. And that means that, as Apple's marketing material used to say anyway, Macs just work. Now, that doesn't mean that Macs don't have issues, and they do have lots of issues. I have over the years had to troubleshoot and work with various different Macs for various issues, but I have found that by and large, they work better, they're more stable than Windows machines, and I really have to troubleshoot them much less than I do a Windows computer. Now, I do like Windows computers, and I do have one here, and I like it a lot. I use it every day for various things. It's great for content creation. It's great for graphic design, that sort of thing, because it's got that dedicated GPU in there. But overall, if you're looking for a good, stable, good quality laptop, you really can't go wrong with a Mac at this point. I am extremely picky when it comes to display quality. Now, I've actually bought and returned lots of different laptops over the years from Best Buy. I'm sure Best Buy hates me, and other manufacturers because of backlight bleed and just bad display quality. And some people who know me know just how picky I have been when it comes to that. But the MacBook Pro here has arguably the best screen I have ever used in a laptop ever. Now, this screen, it's mini LED, it's very bright, it's very color accurate, and it has a fast 120 hertz refresh rate. I mean, you really can't beat that. It's fast, it's bright, color accurate, looks great. There's no backlight bleed, and it is arguably the best screen I have ever used to date. Now, my Dell XPS here has a 17-inch 4K screen, or actually it's a little bit taller than 4K at 3840 by 2400, I want to say. And that is a really nice screen as well, but it suffers from the fairly typical backlight bleed and IPS glow there in the corners, which is normal for that kind of display. I can't really fault Dell for that at all because it's not their fault. That's just the nature of the technology. But Apple has put mini LED in their laptops, and because of that, the contrast ratio is fantastic. They're able to get very, very bright. They're very color accurate, and this is where Apple has really excelled. You can go buy a cheap MacBook Air and get an excellent screen, whereas a $1,000 Windows laptop, the screen that you're going to get might be okay, but it might be like a 300 nits, fairly off-color, not accurate screen. Whereas a Mac, even the cheapest Mac laptop you go for is going to have a decent screen. So that's something that Apple has really done well with, and I wish that Windows manufacturers would do better with. But that's just my opinion, and I do like Windows computers. Don't get me wrong there. So I don't want this to sound like a bashing session on Windows computers. But that said, this is something that really, really is a good selling point for the MacBook Pro, especially. So I bought my iPhone before I bought my MacBook Pro, and even when I was trying to edit video on my Dell XPS, I was really frustrated by just how clunky it is to get footage from my phone onto my Dell. Whereas with the Mac, I can use AirDrop. Now, AirDrop is something that I think other manufacturers, I wish they could copy and actually get right. AirDrop from my phone to my Mac is a game changer to me because I can use this to film B-roll and then just drop it over to my Mac, put it where I want it as far as storage, and then drag it into Premiere and then edit, and it works great. That's something that Apple has really, really done well. And I can also use AirDrop from my Mac and go from my Mac to my phone. So say if I've got a short or something that I want to post from my phone, say to Instagram or to Facebook Reels, that sort of thing, I can drop it from my Mac to my phone, and that's a really cool thing. So that's been kind of a game changer to me. Now, previously I've used Google Drive, and that works okay, but it's not really what I prefer to use, especially if I have AirDrop, which takes just a couple seconds. That's something that's really, really cool. Apple's done a good job there. Now, before I bought this MacBook Pro, I wasn't really sure that I wanted to get back into Macs again. I mean, I'd had a Mac back in 2007, 2008, roughly, and it actually failed me in about 2010. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to get back into a MacBook Pro, and I'm glad that I did, honestly, because this thing has impressed me in a lot of different ways, especially as someone who has used Windows computers for many years. And overall, would I buy it again? Yeah, absolutely I would. I think this has been a great purchase for me. And no, it's not perfect, and there are things about it that I would change, but overall, I think that the MacBook Pro, the M1 chip here, has been a fantastic purchase for me. So again, mine is the 14-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro chip with the 16 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD, and it chews through 4K video editing. It does great with Audition and Blender and Premiere and all those tools, and I really have no complaints with it whatsoever. So I highly recommend this. If you're looking to save some money and you want to get a Mac, but you don't want to go spend new Mac money, then possibly go see if you can find one refurbished from the Apple certified refurbished store, if I get my words out there, or get one used or gently used somewhere. Then I think that you will be really happy with the M1 Pro chip. So honestly, that's just my 2 cents, but I've been very, very impressed, even as a formerly PC guy who still likes and uses PCs, and I like both of them equally. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you and you found something here that's informative or entertaining. And if you like it, then like the video and then subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.